Your Excellency, for many Nigerians within their early 20s and below, it sounds like music to their ears that Nigeria was once the largest economy under your watch. Don't you feel the weight on your shoulder to accede the request of these Nigerians to contest for the presidency of 2027 again?
Thank you. I've heard them. Just like I said, you must have heard me. I said that contesting presidency is not a computer game. I have heard from the young people. I will consult. I cannot just wake up and say I want to be the president of Nigeria again. But I'm telling you that I will consult. If there's need to, fine, I will do that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellency, because of our genuine fear of a possible collapse of Nigeria as peace and unity is now gradually eluding all of us, we decided to march on your office today again, hoping you will step out to receive us and make a statement that will gladden our hearts and the entire nation. We are asking you to hear our cries and contest the 2027 presidential election. We are asking you, sir, to kindly make a commitment to run for the 2027 presidential election, contest the 2027 presidential elections, and give us the opportunity to vote for you once again. We are sure of over 10 million votes coming from this group across the country. God bless you, sir. I should say yes to our heart's request.
Whether ruling party or any other party, what Nigerians are ready to vote is to vote against hunger. And they have been able to see clearly that your regime cannot be matched with any so far. It's been over 15 years since you left power, but your record still stands and your record still counts. So we are asking earnestly that, sir, listening to the yearning of these people is based on your record. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Dogo from Anambra State. We are here today, sir, with humility and a deep respect. I make appeal, sir. We urge you to declare your interest in the 2027 presidential election, sir, because if there is a real fear of my generation may never truly experience what kind of leadership the Nigerian truly feels like. Nigeria needs a standard and trusted leadership, sir. Nigeria needs stability. Nigeria needs hope, sir. We believe you represent hope. We, the young people, we are ready to stand with you. Thank you, Your Excellency. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Would you accept this request or not? It's a very call from Nigeria.
Nigerian, my brothers and my sisters, first and foremost, let me welcome you to my office in Abuja here, and thank you for showing interest in your country. If you have no interest in the country, you will not bother to be here. So I can say that you are showing signs of being patriotic Nigerian. And I will encourage you to continue to be patriotic in the country. It's only patriotic citizens that build their nation. Unpatriotic citizens will destroy their nation, take the money to anywhere to enjoy their life. So you must be patriotic. And things are very, very clear. The key thing we need in this country is peace. So as young people, because most of you here, more than 80% of you are very young people. I don't even know how old some of you were when I was the president. But the key thing is peace in this country, and you continue to advocate for that. And you continue to advocate for peaceful and credible elections in the country. Because if we don't have peaceful and credible elections, most good citizens will not want to bother get involved in politics. And as you two continue to advocate for that, it's very dear to us, peaceful election. And indeed, you, as young people, must continue to be fully involved in the electoral process, especially your right to vote. I've observed elections in about 14 or more African countries. Some have been there 2 times. And even Southeast Asia. Nigeria have the lowest turnout of elections in every election cycle. We have the highest voters apathy. And it shows that people are not even interested in their election. We have the worst, the least. I've never been to a country that has the low numbers we have, tens of percentage of voters. I think INEC need to do something about it. They need to study, get consultants to look at it, and what is the cost, and do something. As young people, you must be involved in the electoral process. If I ask how many of you have your voters cards now, probably 50% of you don't even have voters cards. And you're asking me to go and contest the election. So you must be patriotic, you must participate in the election. You're asking me to come and contest the next election. But I've heard you, and I will consult widely. But the most important thing is in Nigeria, that the young people will have hope. In Nigeria, that will plan for our grandchildren. These countries, people travel abroad to go and enjoy. These things don't happen overnight. Leaders after leaders plan for the grandchildren and build their country. So every year you see things being added and added until they're in this kind of semi-paradise world they enjoy. The Jackpot syndrome in Nigeria has to stop. The highest level of disdain shown to Nigerian youths abroad. Even African countries that we help, African countries that even when we are students, parts of our scholarship monies we are contributing to solve problems in those countries. Nigerians, as if we are all a bunch of idiots, criminals, because probably we leaders have not been able to build our country. Give hope to our young people, and even attract others to come here and work. This is the tax that face all Nigerian leaders. These things could be done by any other person, not necessarily Jonathan.
Your Excellency, for many Nigerians within their early 20s and below, it sounds like music to their ears that Nigeria was once the largest economy under your watch. Don't you feel the weight on your shoulder to accede the request of these Nigerians to contest for the presidency of 2027 again?
Thank you, I've heard them, just like I said. You must have heard me, I said that contesting presidency is not a computer game. I have heard from the young people. I will consult. I cannot just wake up and say I want to be the president of Nigeria again. But I'm telling you that I will consult. If there's need to, fine, I will that.
Thank you, sir.
Take it. Yeah, thanks.
Imagine trying to map out your career and like your life goals, but the literal ground under your feet feels unstable and the lights just keep cutting out.
Right, which is so frustrating.
It really is. That's the baseline reality for a young Nigerian right now. To the 2027 political landscape.
Glad to be here.
Our goal today is to look at the current political writing and figure out what the next election looks like from your perspective. You know, someone trying to find leadership in the middle of total chaos.
Yeah, absolute chaos.
And just a quick heads up before we start. Because the articles and commentary we're pulling from are highly charged, coming from all sides of the political spectrum, we are strictly looking at the mechanics of these arguments.
Right, no endorsements at all.
Exactly. No endorsements, just breaking down the claims on the page.
And honestly, the immediate driving force in these sources isn't abstract policy, it's physical survival.
Wow, yeah. Survival mode.
Totally. We're reading reports of terrorists overrunning an army base in Borno and horrifying attacks on families just trying to bury their loved ones in Plateau State.
That's incredibly heavy.
It really is. Layer that severe insecurity over a national power grid that just keeps collapsing, and you have a deeply, deeply volatile electorate.
Right. And one source highlights the new electricity minister promising to fix that grid in like 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months. I mean, if you're a young voter, a 3-month promise from the government is like a landlord saying he'll fix a caved-in roof next season while your living room is actively flooding.
You just don't have that kind of time.
You really don't. This constant exposure to physical and economic insecurity, it just completely rewires how you evaluate leadership.
Oh, absolutely. It shifts voters from aspirational thinking straight to sheer survival mode.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, when people are exhausted and hungry, their tolerance for long-term political promises just vanishes. A politician asking citizens to endure, a little more pain now for a theoretical payoff later, they're hitting a brick wall.
Right, because trust requires a baseline of stability.
Exactly. Without it, the electorate becomes incredibly reactive, which actually explains a really counterintuitive trend in the current political chatter.
You mean how people are actually looking backward?
Yeah, that exactly.
Because there are movements actively lobbying former President Goodluck Jonathan to return for 2027.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. I mean, I get that the sources highlight the economic peaks of his era. Fuel was cheaper, inflation was lower, and there was that famous GDP rebasing.
Right, when they updated how they calculated the economy to include Nollywood and telecoms.
Exactly, suddenly crowning Nigeria as Africa's largest economy. But leaning on that feels like selective amnesia, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, he was voted out in 2015 for a reason. There were massive corruption allegations and the explosive rise of Boko Haram.
True, but the human brain is incredibly good at filtering out past trauma when the current situation is unbearable.
Ah, so it's psychological.
Yeah, this is the mechanics of the nostalgia trap. Voters aren't necessarily saying Jonathan was a flawless leader. They're saying the specific hardships of his era feel more manageable than the extreme economic and security crises of today.
So it's a comparison born out of pure desperation.
Exactly. It's not objective historical analysis at all.
And Jonathan hasn't shut the door on this either. He told supporters the presidency isn't a computer game and he needs to consult.
Keeping his options open, right?
Right. But if he actually runs, I don't see how that provides stability. It seems more like it would just derail the momentum built by newer opposition figures like Peter Obi.
Oh, definitely.
Because if Jonathan steps in, he pulls from the exact same Southern and youth demographics that the current opposition relies on.
Which brings us to the theory in several sources that a Jonathan run might actually be a decoy.
Wait, a decoy? Like intentional or not?
Intentional or not, yeah. Nigeria operates on an electoral system where you don't necessarily need an absolute majority to win the presidency. You just need more votes than the next guy.
Right, the plurality rule.
Exactly. So if Jonathan and Obi are both running, they carve up the Southern and opposition voting blocks.
Oh, wow. Leaving the incumbent, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with a much easier path.
Exactly. His consolidated base wouldn't need to be overwhelming at all. It just needs to be bigger than the fractured pieces of the opposition.
That's a huge point.
Yeah.
So the desire for a savior from the past essentially does the ruling party's job for them.
Yeah, by neutralizing the threat of a unified resistance. That is the core dilemma for young voters looking toward 2027.
The board basically forces a choice between a fragmented opposition that might cancel itself out, an incumbent leveraging that division, or the highly complicated legacy of a past leader.
It's a really tough spot to be in.
It feels like being boxed into choosing between the architects of past flaws and the managers of present hardships.
It really does.
Which leaves you with this thought to consider. If the electorate is repeatedly forced to choose between the ghosts of the past and the crises of the present, at what point does that pressure cause the traditional political machinery to completely break apart? Right, forcing the emergence of something entirely new. Exactly. Keep an eye on that grid. We'll see you next time.